The message I sent that woman made it impossible for me to go back. I sent the message and immediately landed to take it back. But by the time I realized what I had just done, it was already too late. That message was the very first step into a story that later I could never return from. That night he came home pretty late. It had been a long day at work. I took a shower and lay down on the bed, but I couldn't sleep, not because of work, but because I kept thinking about her. I remembered the meeting that afternoon, the way she spoke, her smile, the way she tilted her head when she was thinking, such tiny details, but they kept replaying over and over in my mind. I tried to distract myself, scrolling through my phone, browsing social media, watching a few videos, but after just a few minutes I put the phone down again, because I realized my mind wasn't focused on anything except her. The battle in my head. He opened my contacts. Her name was still there, very normal. We had each other's numbers because of work, nothing special. But at that moment, just seeing her name made my heart start racing. Inside my head, there were two voices. One voice said clearly, "Don't text her. Everything is fine the way it is. Don't create trouble for yourself." But the other voice whispered softly, "It's just a work message. There's nothing wrong with that. You're just asking a question." I picked up my phone, opened the chat window. A blank screen, the cursor blinking. I started typing. "Are you still awake?" I stared at the message for a few seconds, then deleted it. I typed again. "I'm thinking about the project idea." I stopped again and deleted it. I don't know how many times I typed and erased, but the more I tried not to text, the more I wanted to. My heart started beating faster. A feeling of excitement I hadn't experienced in a very long time. The moment I took the risk finally, I typed a very short message, not too personal, not too intimate, just a simple question about the project. I stared at the screen. My finger hovered over the send button. All it would take was one tap, and the message would fly away, and maybe everything would begin to change. I sat there for a few seconds, then a few more, and then I took the risk. I pressed send. The moment my heart started pounding, the moment the message was sent, my heart started pounding. It felt strange, like I had just done something I shouldn't have done. I stared at the screen. My message showed sent. At that moment I just wanted to unsend it immediately, but I couldn't. I put the phone down, then picked it up again, looking at the screen. Nothing. I told myself, maybe she's already asleep. Maybe she'll reply tomorrow. Part of me felt relieved, but another part felt a little disappointed. And right then, my phone vibrated. She replied. The screen lit up. Her name appeared. My heart started beating even faster. I opened the message. Her reply was simple, but warm. There was no annoyance, no distance. She talked about the project, asked me a few questions, and then the conversation started. Messages back and forth. One message, then two, then three. We weren't just talking about work anymore. We talked about ideas, little stories. Time passed faster than I expected. I looked at the clock. It was almost midnight. The question that made me freeze just when I thought the conversation was ending. She sent another message, a question. "Would you like to write a book with me?" I stared at the screen for a long time. Write a book? I never expected her to ask that. Immediately a thought appeared in my mind. If I said yes, we would have more riasonsto talk, more chinchesto meet, more tomato be close. Part of me wanted to say no, not because I didn't like the idea, but because I knew things could become complicated, very complicated. But I still said yes. I stared at the screen. My fingers hovered over the keyboard. I was about to type, "Maybe I'm not the right person," but when I started typing, the words that appeared were, "I'd love to." I read the message again, and then I pressed send. At that moment I realized something. I had just taken another step down a path my mind had been trying to avoid. That night I couldn't sleep after the conversation and Daddy put my phone down, but I couldn't sleep. I stared at the ceiling. My mind was full of thoughts. Part of me felt excited, like something interesting was beginning, but another part felt worried, because I knew very clearly my life was heading in two different directions. From that day on, I started living two different lives. A man preparing to get married, and a man who couldn't stop thinking about another woman. What do you think? Was this our emotional cheating? Be honest in the comments. Because part 4 is when I began to realize I was drifting very far away from the life I once had.